This period is characterized by military and political chaos, as Europe struggles to re-establish power structures and order from the vacuum and disruption created by the fall of the Roman Empire and movements of barbarian tribes in the previous 3 centuries. In this period, the Vikings begin raiding throughout the European peninsula, slaughtering natives, and enacting tribute from as far afield as Lindisfarne and Constantinople.
Yay!
They also established permanent bases of settlement, for example the Danelaw in eastern England and Normandy in northern France, and under King Knut, a North Sea empire that stretched from England to Scandinavia. In the centuries following the collapse of Roman authority in Western Europe, tribal warlords would periodically attempt to invoke the memory of the Caesars to legitimize their own regimes. An obvious example of this was the Frankish emperor Charlemagne, who ruled over a large Western European empire between 768 and 814. He is remembered today for establishing a novel system of political and legal organisation that might be seen to anticipate the development of feudalism in Europe, and also for having himself crowned Emperor Caesar Augustus by the Roman Pope. Feudalism was a term coined by later historians to describe a rigid system of homage and fealty, in which land was exchanged for services according to rank. The local peasantry would be given a small tract of land in exchange for labour and submission to the rule of a local lord. He, in turn, would owe taxes and military service to regional dukes and earls, who themselves pledged fealty, revenue and entire armies to the king. This, alongside a complex system of rights, common customs and orders of chivalry, established a sense of order in most of Europe until its gradual replacement in the later Middle Ages by more modern-looking popular assemblies and centralised civil and legal institutions. Much like in previous centuries, further important developments were spurred by the ravages of nomadic tribes from the east. The relentless attacks of the Magyar in Saxony, Italy, and Bavaria in the first half of the 10th century would inspire a confederation of German princes and nobles to form a military alliance to at once defeat these wandering barbarians, and thence to establish the so-called Holy Roman Empire, complete with its own Emperor of the Romans crowned in 962. This latest reiteration of the long-dead Western Roman Empire would last until the arrival of Napoleon almost 900 years later. It would be this Holy Roman Empire that would be most entangled with that other estate of medieval European power, the Church. The institutions of Christianity continue their rise in importance throughout this period. The Church breaks decisively with the Eastern Orthodox Church in 1054, and engages in a decades-long power struggle with the European monarchies, essentially over who should wear the trousers in European domestic politics. Highlights include the investiture crisis with the Holy Roman Empire, i.e. who gets to appoint bishops, and the infamous murder of the Archbishop of Canterbury, Thomas Becket. But the murder of the odd Archbishop aside, the Church does grow in confidence and power in this period, enough to mandate a series of crusades for the recapture of the Holy Land from the infidel Muslims. 7 major attempts between 1096 and 1291. Highlights here include the massacre of 8,000 Jews as the First Crusade makes its way to the east through the Rhineland, and of 70,000 inhabitants of Jerusalem once the city is taken. A few military orders are also established, such as the Teutonic Knights and the Templars, inspiring of course some of the worst literature in the history of mankind. Excitingly, Pope Innocent III also orders a corresponding crusade against heretics, establishing that most Christian of institutions, the Holy Inquisition, and burning at the stake. Apparently, there is also an agricultural revolution during this period, something to do with the invention of the watermill and the iron plough. Thanks for listening. If you like this, subscribe and comment below.